Sometimes you don't disappear because you don't care. You disappear because everything suddenly feels too loud inside. Too many thoughts. Too many expectations. Too many emotions at the same time. So you go quiet. You step back. You pull away. And people think you changed. But something else is happening. You are not broken. If you pull away when life feels heavy, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not cold. You are not selfish. You are not emotionally unavailable. Your nervous system is trying to protect you in the only way it learned how. Most people never learn this about themselves. They only feel the distance. They only see the silence. But underneath it, there is a very human pattern. Reason 1: your mind goes into survival mode. When you feel overwhelmed, your brain quietly switches priorities. Connection becomes optional. Performance becomes irrelevant. Pleasure disappears. The only goal left is safety. So your attention turns inward. Your body slows your social energy. Your mind limits stimulation. Not because people are the problem, but because everything feels like too much input at once. Pulling away becomes a form of emotional noise canceling. It is not avoidance. It is overload management. Reason 2: you learned that being okay matters more than being honest. Many people who pull away grew up learning one silent rule: don't become a burden. So when emotions become heavy, confusing, or messy, they don't reach out. They retreat. They wait until they feel calm again. They wait until they can sound normal. They wait until they can explain themselves clearly. But overwhelm does not come with clear sentences. It comes with fog, with pressure in the chest, with exhaustion that has no simple story. So silence feels safer than half-explaining pain. Reason 3: your brain associates closeness with emotional effort. Connection requires emotional processing, listening, responding, explaining how you feel, adjusting to other people's reactions. When you are already mentally exhausted, your brain labels connection as another task. Not because you don't care, but because your emotional battery is already blinking red. So instead of opening another emotional window, you close a few. Distance becomes a way to conserve emotional energy. Reason 4: you fear leaking your chaos onto people you care about. When you feel overwhelmed, you don't always trust your emotional state. You feel unstable, reactive, sensitive. You worry that if you stay close, you might say the wrong thing, or express something you can't take back, or let your frustration spill onto someone who doesn't deserve it. So you withdraw before damage can happen. Pulling away becomes a quiet form of protection. For others, not just for yourself. Reason 5: you confuse emotional rest with emotional isolation. This is one of the most misunderstood parts. You don't actually want to be alone. You want relief. But your mind learned relief only through withdrawal. So when pressure rises, the only rest strategy you recognize is disconnection. Not because connection cannot help, but because you were never taught how to rest inside connection. Here is the part almost nobody talks about. The behavior is not the problem. The pattern is. The pattern is how your nervous system learned to regulate itself without support. And once a nervous system learns a shortcut to safety, it repeats it automatically. Even when your life is different now. Even when your relationships are safer now. Even when your environment no longer requires emotional hiding. Your body still remembers the old map. You are not someone who pushes people away. You are someone who self-regulates through distance. That is a very different identity. One comes from emotional coldness. The other comes from emotional intelligence that never had guidance. You learn to survive emotionally on your own. That is not weakness. That is adaptation. But adaptation is not always the same as connection. Imagine your mind is a small room. When life is calm, the windows are open. Light moves in, air moves through. But when stress builds, the room fills up. Thoughts stack on top of each other. Responsibilities lean against the walls. Emotions sit on the floor with nowhere to go. So you don't invite anyone inside. Not because you don't want company, but because there is literally no space left to hold another presence. Pulling away is how you protect the last corner of breathing room. The quiet truth is this. People who pull away when overwhelmed often care deeply. They just care silently. They carry responsibility inward. They process pain privately. They calm themselves before asking for support. And sometimes, they become very good at disappearing, instead of being seen while struggling. If this is you, you don't need to label yourself as distant. You don't need to judge your nervous system for choosing space. Your withdrawal was not random. It was learned. It was intelligent. It was protective. And it helped you survive moments when you did not feel safe enough to be fully visible. You are not broken for needing distance. You are human for learning how to breathe in the only way you once knew. And now, even noticing this pattern is already a quiet form of emotional growth.